everyone. This is Jay Moffitt along with Julie Miller and Caleb Horn. Tailgate update number 62. For most people in our great United States, the most important week of the year after the Super Bowl, where 31 teams get to look really, really stupid. And one team said, we were there all the time, So, but we are going to start tonight with a little bit of incredible basketball news we didn't get to cover last week. One of the more lopsided or improbable trades ever. And I'm going to ask Caleb about his thoughts about young Luka Doncic being traded for AD from the Lakers.
Yeah, 25-year-old, otherwise outside of this year, healthy as a horse, Luka Doncic, and then
right.
What's 80? 32 now?
32,
and it appears that the man made of glass stays true to his word, and he's already hurt again.
That's incredible. First game.
It's insane.
Caleb, do you ever feel really ancient when you're talking about somebody and you realize that they're not that far from your age and you're saying how old they are? Like that
Yes.
That happens to me a lot, and we just kind of did that. And I'm just like, bro, we would be going together to the cookout. Like, we would be at the same cookout. Like,
when it comes to sports, I'm still like that 10-year-old kid, and everybody that's 25 looks like they are just older than dirt. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
wow,
Oh God, he's 32. Like, gotta get the casket out.
I'm older than the majority of professional athletes now, and it's actually really sad.
I know. I was like, Jalen's so young when they said he was 26. Oh my God, I was like, that baby.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got a lifetime to go. But yeah, normally when you got trades in the works, there's some sort of rumor leading up to it or something.
Mm-hmm.
This was what should have been a Woj bomb just drops in the middle of the night, essentially. And I'd imagine that there's maybe a handful of people that knew about it beforehand. And I mean, Luka didn't even know until it happened.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy. And I don't know. The Lakers will probably end up being better off long term, but short term, I don't know. Where's the defense coming from?
Yeah, well, the thing about it is, you talked about nobody knew, the press didn't know, these people didn't know. The latest things coming out is that basically Mark Cuban, who's a 49% owner, told the general manager, says that you can't do that. That's just you just cannot trade him away for that, for one really good player, formerly all NBA player, plus one first round draft pick.
And then a couple
for a guy that's 25 and 5-time all NBA. 5-time at 25.
At 25, yeah.
At 25. And we were talking about AD's age. Anthony Davis, to let you know how old he is, he was the last time that Calipari won a championship at Kentucky.
Gosh, was that 14?
But yeah, 14 years ago. Yeah.
For all of our 90 Day Fiancé fans, which I know we have a lot of because that's a crossover that's common, sports and reality TV, all that 5, 5, 5 reminded me of that one goes like, buy 5, save 5. Buy 5, save 5. You'll know what I mean if you've seen it. He's 25.
People, if they make 5 times all NBA in their lifetime, they're Hall of Fame. This guy's done it by the age of 25.
How is this not somebody that you think that Luke would be the one guy where it's like, hey, you can't just trade him or move him without me knowing, being the owner.
Yeah, right.
Like, what? Put me on speed dial, dude. Like, and we better be getting Michael Jordan, prime Michael Jordan back or something. I don't know.
Right.
Let me get my tinfoil hat on. Let me don this. Is there a reason, I won't say this exactly, but sometimes there's like some spiritual leaders, when they get in trouble in their parish, they get sent to another one so that they don't get to kind of alleviate the trouble that they cause in that area. Okay? So is it possible that either one of them maybe did something where they're like, you need to get him out of here because he acting crazy up in here?
Mm,
Doncic was very famed for being out of shape, out of basketball shape, even though he would come in and still be, 25, 5 and 5 on the night,
Five
but
five six five.
he would be noticeably out of shape, the first week or even the first month of the season and work himself into shape.
yeah.
And there was a photo after a game where he's like having a beer that a teammate took the beer out of his hands.
Yeah, that was
Like,
after the Western Conference Finals last year.
right. And probably you remember this, Caleb, when they were talking at halftime of a game or something, and Dallas was just getting trounced, and the Mavericks were very unhappy with his approach to it. And Brian Windhorst went on a long rant on national TV about how they were incredibly unhappy with Luca and you know,
Mm.
his basically overall physicality and
But
staying
and
physically
So
fit.
maybe he
here,
had one too many beers one night and they want to avoid, I don't know, going
so
public, so you pay somebody off a lawsuit or
yeah,
something. So they're
nah,
like, you got to get him out of this city because he's doing too much. I don't know. That's just a thought because maybe he had a Lawrence Taylor moment, and they're like, okay, wait, he got to go.
I don't think anything like that. I mean, it
Yeah.
doesn't seem like that'd be his MO, but I don't know. I think you just kind of take what you get with Luca, and he's gonna go get you buckets and do a little bit of facilitating for you. And I
Yeah.
think that it's on you to kind of build the rest of the team to
Hmm.
tailor
Yeah.
to that, right?
I agree with you. I mean, that's the way it should work. But when Nico, the GM of Dallas, was talking Larry about we built up this team and this coach and this culture and this everything, and he wasn't fitting. And I agree with you. It's 110%. You have a player like Luca, a generational talent, and you build the team around him. You don't worry about your vision.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You're there to get the best of your best player,
Yeah,
especially if he's the best player on pretty much anybody in your division.
yeah,
And,
that's
and, and also, the one thing that they talked about, like conspiracy theory, Julie was saying, was that basically the only people he talked with was Palinka. He didn't really put him out to open bid or see if they could get a better offer or anything. It was just like two pals doing a deal, and they sealed it with a handshake, which is crazy way to do things.
I
well,
mean, can you really say, look at anything in this world and say, that's not possible? Can we do that in 2020?
no, not after this, especially in the sports world. I mean, and
Mm.
now the Mavs PR team is just doing like trying to say he's checking in at 270, and I'm like, there's just look at it. That dude is not 270 pounds. Like he's been injured.
We got
He's
video
probably
from like 5 days later.
yeah, he's probably a little out of shape because he's been injured, but he's gonna get back on the horse, and come June, everything's gonna be business as usual. He's gonna go hang 30 on the Mavs head if they even make it to the
Yeah.
playoffs. It's
Did
just
he
Yes.
date
terrible crap.
did he
Yeah.
date
I agree
somebody's
with you.
daughter or something? Like,
I don't know. And honestly, it might work. I mean, I don't know. I think these guys like Giannis, being happy in Milwaukee, it's you'd think they want to go to a Chicago or New York or LA, but I think that they kind of find a little home there, and I think they love it genuinely. And I think that he was probably actually pretty hurt when he got traded.
probably,
So, which
especially for an old
It
man.
it looked like it at the
yeah,
conference, the press conference. It looked like he was a little snippy, but
yeah.
um he kept it to himself.
I mean, what are
But
you?
like you said, yeah. I mean, I was like, I'll show you on the court.
Oh,
Hmm.
exactly.
But
Oh,
yeah,
he's
the
gonna torch
last
him.
yeah, the last 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, if he comes in a little bit over what you would think, because it was a calf injury, a calf strain.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not even going to be able to do like a pool workout or something. It's not an upper body thing where you can keep your weight under control. Once you get the healing done, then you go back
Yeah.
and get back in shape.
And strains are hard too because it's not like I broke something, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not as tangible, and it's harder to tell when you're like ready to go. Like when you strain a hamstring or something like that, like
Yeah.
that can linger because you might keep re-injuring it because you think you're ready to go, you're not. But
That's exactly what they thought happened to AD with the abdomen. He had an abdomen injury
the other night,
Uh-huh.
before, but it was an
yeah.
abductor,
Oh,
which I'm told is like lower down.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's like your
Isn't that in your
lateral
hips or
type
something?
movement.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought, that down the groin area.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
lower than an abdominal. He was
Yeah.
recovering from an abdominal
it
strain.
it
Yeah,
would
just a little bit.
be a bit of a pain in the butt for sure, especially within basketball. I mean, you got so much weird, awkward movement, and not to mention you're 7'1" or whatever he is.
It's kind of
You
like
know,
that alone's gonna make it hard on your hip joints, okay?
yeah,
Like just
yeah.
being that tall.
Yeah, that's it.
Um,
But I agree with Caleb. It's just time will tell.
what about the Bulls trading away Levine for their own first round draft pick that was top 10 protected for them? And
That's a
then
weird one. I mean, but that was part of like the Giddy. Was that part of the Giddy trade or
now
for,
Caruso,
from
Caruso, it
from
was literally
Crusoe?
so that's
Okay.
even worse in my opinion. They got Caruso, they traded Caruso away for Giddy straight up, and
Wait, isn't
shocker,
Getty that one?
yes,
The
the
Yes,
trade
one,
kitty
Giddy is
yes.
type
that
one?
one.
Yeah.
So
Oh, Lord.
he's that one, and he's also bad at basketball.
Talk about a liability, because you're not gonna know what kind of parties he's going to, you know what I'm saying? Like they
So
could
it's
creep up again. It happens once, like behavioral stuff like that.
yeah, and so now you go back, you get three scrubs, and like I said, a top 10 draft pick. Which if you traded away Levine, and if they would have got rid of Vooch, which I mean, if LA wouldn't have waited till the final minute, they probably could have picked up Vooch at least.
If the trade had fallen through 2 days before the deadline,
Yes,
I think you're right. I think you could have got him to LA and
it,
gotten a haul.
you might have gotten a first, but they
Yeah,
have not gotten a single draft pick with anybody. They've gotten rid of DeRozan, Caruso, and Levine, and have yet to get a first round pick.
that's amazing.
It's I mean, talk about incompetence.
Amazing.
It's truly amazing. It really is. You have
Your
to try that
incompetence
hard to
is
be bad at stuff.
shocking.
No, but the one last thing about the draft deadline, the trade deadline, was the fact that our in Memphis, our GM, he got two first round draft picks to Boston to get Marcus Smart. And then 2 years later, when it wasn't working out, he had to send another first round pick to get rid of Marcus Smart. So basically, Marcus Smart, a 2 year rental, 39 games of Marcus Smart cost three first round draft picks,
39 games.
39 games out of
Mm.
almost 2 years of being on the roster.
Oh my god, that's bad.
39 out of 140, I think it was.
That's
So,
rough.
yeah.
That's pretty rough. um,
I don't know. Just
Basketball's weird.
when I see a trade that's really strange, I start asking a couple questions because like it's not the first time that stuff like that has happened, and like when it really doesn't make sense, I'm like,
Well, and this is where it's like it stinks for the Mark Williams trade because I think that LA actually would have been sitting really good if that would have went through. But now if you want to get the 10 hat going, what about this nepotism we got going on in LA with Bronny and LeBron?
oh God,
Are they trying to get that cooking, get them two to get a championship together?
isn't
Then
LeBron like old enough to be my dad?
yes. Well, I mean,
Not technically.
Close,
physically speaking, sure, technically, I
close,
guess, but legally, no.
close. That's all I'm saying. It's closer than I'm comfortable with.
The
Like that
fact we're
man
talking
is,
about it.
yeah, yeah, like yeah. And y'all hear about Marcus Jordan? What he got into?
I see you get arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
What was it for?
I just saw the body cam today. He drove his like BMW or something, a really expensive car, onto a train track. And not just like in the
Huh.
street, where you have to pass over the train track. He drove onto the literal train track and went down a ways. until his car got stuck on a train track in which trains actually pass through. And
You
there
know
was,
what? I was just talking to a coworker that back in his heyday, I'm not gonna name his name, but him and his buddy did the same thing in his SUV, but they end up taking like the old railroad ties that were sitting over there and like
yeah,
kind of like back themselves back off because obviously your frame is just going to sit on the tracks and your
right.
wheels aren't touching. So
Uh,
yeah,
Yeah, and
funny
so
you say
he's
that.
like, "Oh, there's six of us here. I think we can lift the car off the track." And they're like, "No, we called a tow truck." And he's like, "I don't want to lose my car." And they're like, "Get the F out the car because there is a train that's close by." And the girlfriend was like arguing with them, like, "This car is expensive," and it's like your life probably was worth more, but okay. And so they eventually got them out of the car. With Mark is like, "You know who my dad is?" Yeah, he did that. And then and they're like, "We don't know who you are." He's like, "Yeah, you do." And they're and we don't know who you are. And then
Nope, no
that
clue.
was before he said Michael Jordan, son. They're like he thought by just face that he would know. Anyway, they found some soda, some Coke soda in the car. They
Oh,
found,
good.
yeah, and he was above the legal limit, I believe, allegedly, and he was slurring his words, and they were like, "You're slurring your words." He's like, "No, I'm not slurring my word," that whole thing. It was a mess.
You're
He's like,
slurring your words.
he was like, "I'm trying to turn left onto the freeway." They're like, "Sir, how do turn left onto the train track?" It was a total mess. I didn't like, I just saw the body cam, so I don't know what happened to the car and everything, but like, holy crap. It was better than I thought when I heard
What a
when I
guy.
heard the whole thing go down. I'm like, what happened here? He had to drive down a ways before he finally got caught up. Like, did you not think that there was something wrong when you
Yeah, like, dude, what did you think was going to happen?
Yeah.
Eventually, your vehicle's going to run out of real estate here.
Yeah, did you think you were on the freeway? Like,
That sounds
Apparently,
like some Dudley Do-Right stuff.
yeah.
literally.
Let's see. We missed some things last week, so go ask Julie if she can catch us up on what happened at the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been writing numerous articles on this topic because I get so detailed that, if you want to know every bird that farted, I can tell you. So if you want the in-depth focus, okay, go on the forkball.com. I know that IW will put the articles here, the skill show and no, on Thursday night it's just skills, and then on Sunday, it's a mixture of the game, the flag football game, and more skills competitions. So it's a mixture. Um, they had Terry Crews as a host, which was a lot more fun than you would think. Like he had a lot of enthusiasm and was even trying some of the skills. I really appreciated that. He's a lot, but in this situation, it worked out. I appreciated that Jason Kelsey was with Van Pelt and Orlovsky announcing the flag football game. That was very amusing coverage. All of the coverage was fantastic, except for I forget what that lady's name who was wearing the dominatrix boots at every single event, but she kept giving everybody's name wrong. It's really bad.
Yeah.
She got
One
Yeah,
time's
she kept
funny.
saying
You do it the
Jackson
whole
Smith
night.
and Jigba's name wrong, and I'm like, that's when you don't want to really like. That's when you don't want to get wrong, okay? Because it could go south fast. And then
Yeah.
there was another one. I forget. It was a guy's first name, and I was just like, "Ma'am, have you not read these names? Okay, because like you have got to get it together." So that really stuck out to me because I was like. Tripping over in a Jigba is not that's a game you don't want to play, okay? I learned that one real quick how to say that. Anyway, so I think it was Dewan Jenkins or something like that. She said it wrong. I can't remember. But anyway,
She
um
pronounced Dijon, DeWan wrong.
I'm trying to remember who it was. It was somebody, it was definitely a D. I don't have the note on me quite. Um,
I was just saying that she couldn't mispronounce Jenkins.
no, it was the first name on
Okay,
that one.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so that was sort of amusing. Um, Peyton and Eli doing their thing. I enjoy their banter. Um, Eli said this was the three-peat because the NFC had won second 2 times in a row, and he said this is the three-peat that everybody was actually paying attention to heading into the week before the Super Bowl, and I have to concur with that. And they clinched it again. I'll give you that little tidbit there. Spoiler, the NFC took it again. And Eli said that at this point, working with so many quarterbacks and so many different players, it might be a coaching problem. And he took accountability for his lack of leadership many times. Um, and I am just really impressed because Eli said they had people throwing balls at each other, which sounds exactly like how I thought it sounded in prep for dodgeball. He said that they were doing trivia games to prepare for passing the test. They
You
said
can
that they
dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
True.
Absolutely.
And then they said they had one of the trivia questions was about what one player's name meant in a different language, and he said we practice the language of origin for all these names. And like so he's like that's how we're so on top of it. Like they had some intense week practices, is what I'm hearing before they came. Um Bijan Robinson, fun fact, his first name actually means hero in Persian, and he has Persian roots.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Wow.
which was super cool. Gonna have to write about that, but yeah, so they got somehow they got that right. Somehow they got that right. Don't know how that happened. I guess it was all that practice. But yeah, so some pretty funny commentary. So flag football got a little intense. Sunglasses were falling off, hats were falling off. One time it looked like it was gonna like like they might have had to put a flag on the play because it was a little aggressive. It was like, hey y'all, like you can't sandwich him like that. Anyway, we learned some rules. We realized the rules of the game were a little more fluid than they normally would be, but they try. And yeah. Russell Wilson really put his all into the game, and I appreciated that because Peyton said in Burrow we trust. But as they discovered, Burrow really wasn't the one who carried their team per the usual. But yeah. And then should we talk about the award show a little bit?
Oh, NFL honors.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I called. I think the last half of it. Yeah, it was more interesting than usual.
Yes. I think a big portion of that would be Snoop Dogg. His joke about Bill Belichick's girlfriend was hilarious. Um, that's what I show up for, okay? Did you see that she was in a Super Bowl commercial? I was like, oh.
I did. I saw that. It was the Dunkings commercial.
Yeah, I was like, wow. But the thing is her face is so forgettable that I thought I saw her in another one, and I realized it wasn't her.
Forget,
Anyway, I was like,
forgettable.
yeah, because she looks like everybody else. Like, so I thought she was somebody else. Anyway, I was like, oh, okay, girl, I see you. We all see her.
Yeah.
Um,
But what I really liked about NFL honors is that Snoop was wearing the exact same outfit I was wearing watching it.
oh my God. Except he changed his outfit a lot, right?
Yeah, yeah. After the first one, he got tired of the gold tennis shoes. So, yeah, he
Yeah.
changed all the chains and the tennis shoes and
He had
everything
like
and
the
came
Pittsburgh
back.
Steelers uniform on at one point.
Oh yeah, with jelly roll.
Yeah, Jelly
Was he up
Roll
there?
came in with the Chargers, I think.
Titans,
Yeah,
wasn't it, Jay?
Titans, yeah. He's a
Yeah.
huge Titans
Titans.
fan. I've seen
Yeah.
clips of him in the Titans locker, I mean the Titans like conference room trying to like get guys psyched up and things like that.
Yeah.
Because he's got the whole backstory, about he was literally on like Nashville Skid Row,
Yeah.
before he turned his life around.
Yeah.
But he knows all the players by name and what's good. And he talked for 5 or 10 minutes at the beginning of the season about what a loss it was going to be losing Derrick Henry,
Mm.
Yeah,
how he
he was
didn't know
right.
how he was going to recover from that. And he was correct.
Very correct. Shocker. Nobody's supposed to see that coming, right?
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much of a jelly roll he was until I seen him in a
Mm.
football outfit. I was like, okay,
Oh,
because it's
yeah.
not as obvious as normally. I was like, all right,
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a reason for that nickname. Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever
yeah,
you thought, times it by a couple.
okay. A lot of dunkings.
Yes.
Yeah, that it was, and then yeah, I thought it was really well done. The teleprompter with Jefferson was a win. Um, I appreciated all of the mess ups that they had because it just felt like they weren't any separation from Hollywood that I can do with the NFL. I appreciate, and it just shows how unrefined they are
It's
when
perfect.
they when they can't get the teleprompter to work. I was crying. Oh my God, it was fantastic. I was disappointed about Joe Burrow getting comeback player of the year because I'm like, you literally can die, come back, and become a starter of your team in 2 seasons, and you still gonna lose.
Yeah. And honestly, even if it's not DeMar, like why not Sam Darnold? Like I know he had a
Yeah.
stinker at the end, but I
Like
mean that's as
DeMar,
good
I
a story
realized
as any.
last year why it would be kind of rough, like because he had barely done anything, but now he's a starter. Like he's out
Yeah.
there every week. So like I'm like, how much more do you have to prove yourself? You went from being dead to just kind of playing to being a starter. Like and then and Joe Burrow didn't want it. He's like, it's awkward to get this award twice. And I'm like, well, I agree
It
with
is.
you.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
shocked when it was
Wow.
Joe. And yeah, last year DeMar would have been it'd have been insulting to DeMar to
Yeah.
win that because he played like 10 snaps, it felt like.
Yeah.
Right.
This year, I mean, he was legitimately a piece in the defense. So
Yeah,
But,
he
but,
was out there all the time and he got like that interception, that big
mhm.
one. I forget which one, but I remember him getting one and being really excited about it.
but
Like,
switching back to the more superficial part of it,
yeah.
did you think Joe's tips were just about right? Just a shadow of frosted tips?
Oh God.
It was a good look for him. It wasn't too much.
He is always too much. He's a walking
Jay's
robot.
Jay's pounding the table right now.
I'm pounding. I mean, it's just the right amount of frosted tips, you know?
I'm
Is
just gonna point
frosted
this
tips
out.
ever the right amount? I don't know,
No. I'm
but
gonna point out this one
it
more
wasn't awful.
time. They always say women focus on the superficial stuff. Y'all talking about Tom Brady's pants. I didn't even notice he had pants. Talking about the uniforms and the Super Bowl matching. You talking about Snoop Dogg's outfits, and you talking about Burrow's frosted tips, and I didn't think about none of those things.
Well, hell yeah, Julius, look good, feel good, play good.
I love
Yeah,
it. I'm
exactly.
just
And,
I'm just
and you
pointing it
know
out
he
one more
looks,
time.
Tom Brady looks gaunt. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody talked about it.
Um,
He looks like he's kind of deflated since he was in the playing days.
I
so
know. Is
speaking of
it is
Tom
it the
Brady,
plastic surgery or does he have a health problem? Like,
both
I think he's just not working out as much, which would make
no,
sense. You're not in the pros anymore.
it's that
yeah, but that's not
stinking.
gonna make your face look like you want something.
It's the TB12 stuff. He needs to get off that and like eat some normal food. You
Yeah,
know?
Eat a burger.
it's kind of
Yeah.
scary at this point. I was like, you know how there's like certain autoimmune deficiency diseases where you start to lose weight really fast? That's what it's giving me a little bit.
His watch last night.
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah,
Seven. Correct me if I'm wrong. $750,000 watch.
that's what they said.
What in the world, dude?
Yeah, 740.
Oh,
Let me see what
that's
I
insane.
forgot to look up his pants and y'all were talking about them.
I didn't see them. I
Don't
mean,
say y'all. I didn't say nothing about
they
these
had
pants.
they had
No,
no
yeah.
they had no belt and they had no belt loops,
Oh, really?
which was a combination I'd never seen. I've seen guys with no belts before, but they had no belt loops.
Did he have like the suspender clips by
No,
chance?
Uh-uh.
No.
They just were like they were there for Tom Brady.
They're
Wow.
not
Probably been
talking about nothing besides his watch.
Yeah, well, that kind of makes sense, but he just looked gaunt, and the
Yeah.
pants, you were like, okay, that's how are they staying on? No suspenders, no
He,
belt,
he
you
looks
know.
like a Hollywood celebrity that's, like 60 years old that's trying to look like they're 30 again.
Yeah. That's a
Like they
Exactly.
great
removed the
description.
fat in the cheeks and
Yeah.
the whole thing, which I
He
think
got
just
that whole
looks terrible.
sculpting, I would bet. Yeah, he
Yeah.
just looks terrible that way. Yeah.
Well, they have like those surgeries now with the women with the facelifts where they have like kind of a whole new face. It's been like the last year or two where they
Hmm.
have like they're really transformative. I'm not talking about just, women in plastic surgery in general, but Lindsay Lohan was one of them. How
Yeah.
like she has a complete like I wonder if he got something like that and it just did not work, or is he sick and we just don't know about it? Like something isn't right.
I think with Caleb, it's just the high protein, no carbs at all
Yeah.
thing could
Yeah.
be. And
He needs some bread, brother.
he's not working out enough to keep himself plumped up the way he was before. You would burn it all off. But now he's just
Well,
like burning through the fat,
he's
any
probably
fat that's
working
left.
out. It's just different. Like when you're working out for the NFL, you're got to stay a little bit beefy so you can take the hits. Now it's probably more cardio based and like yoga and Pilates and stuff
Yeah,
that just,
flexibility and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
yeah, like I mean, he probably feels great, I'd imagine. I don't think you'd make yourself look like that if it didn't.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
But anyway, I didn't think. I mean, we're talking about the appearances of superficiality, which of course is what I focus on. But uh,
Love it.
he didn't make any big boo boos during the game.
Mm-mm.
I
He's not.
wasn't. I wasn't that. I wasn't that. I didn't feel like it was really a downgrade from the number one announcers that I've heard on the Super Bowl. He did distract from it. He was
No,
knowledgeable. He didn't distract from it. That's
I
what
didn't.
you want.
I think that he should have been a little more. Which you could probably say this for any team that's calling a Chiefs game, but like they were getting their doors blown off. Pat Mahomes had 50 yards halfway through the fourth quarter. Like, let's call a spade and like just say, like, these guys look terrible. Pat looks terrible. He's
Yeah,
rattled. He's like,
yeah,
the Eagles are completely dominating them. And I didn't really feel like I was hearing that enough.
yeah, yeah. I
And
agree
I
with you. It was
wasn't
34
hearing,
to nothing
yeah, and
before
like
they crossed midfield.
it would have been a great opportunity to talk about, okay, Tom, what did you guys do when you guys played Mahomes in your final Super Bowl? What was it like, when you were
Mm.
the 17 or 16 and 0 Patriots going to play the Giants and you losing that game? Like, there's just not enough relating and storytelling sometimes, I feel
Yeah,
like. And when you're in a game like that where it's not close at all or interesting, to be frank,
no,
there should have
no.
been a lot more storytelling. And that's kind of on Burkhardt too, to kind of lead him down that path as well if he's not going to do it himself.
I agree with you. I mean, Burkhardt didn't lead hard enough on that. I was going to tell you that I've totally forgotten about the last time the Eagles had won it before, which was the year that Nick Foles came in to substitute.
Yeah. 18
Yeah, and
or
so
19,
he
whatever.
tweeted that when they beat the Patriots, he tweeted, "Hey, hey Brady, you've been at both of the Super Bowls that the Eagles have won. You must be like their good luck charm."
Yeah. Yeah. I seen that. Yeah. He must have
Just
forgot about '04 though.
so brilliant. Yeah,
But yeah. Yeah, that'd have been a great way to relate it, like
yeah,
them. I mean, because they got beat pretty handily by the Eagles that game too, if I remember right.
yeah. You're
So,
right.
um,
You're right. But
I don't know.
you look back over the whole playoffs. Uh, their defense has been so incredibly dominant. I think was it 7 sacks against the Rams? It was a tremendous amount against the
Yeah,
Rams.
yeah,
And then they just blew the doors off the they blew the door off the Commanders. It was 55-23.
yeah. So that was like the inverse. Like that was a game that was not close, but not completely out of reach. And then all of a sudden, in the fourth quarter, they just took off. And this one was
Yeah,
like they took off immediately
yeah,
and then just maintained it. And
yeah. They
the
just
score, in my opinion, is 40-6.
That's
Cheat.
the
That's
way
the
I thought
cheating.
of it. Yeah, The
But
last little bits were just against prevent defense and
yeah,
nothing. Yeah.
and probably some guys getting reps in the Super Bowl just to say they got to play the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But whatever. I mean, definitely
I
was hoping for a
guess
better game.
I guess it was kind of like watching a train wreck. Actually, I described it like the Mike Tyson fight, where like you can't look away, but you hate your life the whole way through because it was so bad that it didn't feel right, like something was really off. I don't really
Hmm.
know.
Well, you're
Yeah.
kind of that even early in the third quarter, you're kind of waiting like, okay, when's this thing going to flip on its head and some weird stuff's going to happen? And, Chiefs will go down, score, and then Hurts will probably throw a pick six or something like that. Crazy. But
I mean, I wasn't expecting anything dramatic. I just wasn't expecting it to be that bad. I
yeah,
guess like that was
it's the
so
ultimate hate
bad.
watch.
It
If
was
you despise the Chiefs, that was the ultimate hate watch to just watch them get dragged through the mud for 60 minutes.
like
It
they
wasn't
almost won like the biggest point deficit in Super Bowl history almost.
It
right.
would it would have been close.
It
It,
was
I
yeah, it was
mean,
close.
it would have been close. Yeah.
if they would have maintained that 40-6, it would have been pretty close. But I think the Niners own that over the Bengals.
I believe you're right. I
Yeah,
remember the Bengals getting just trashed.
like 55-10, or
Uh,
Bears beat the Patriots 46-10. I know that's like probably third or fourth on the list. So
Yeah.
yeah, I guess like in this game it really stood out because sometimes you have the underdog that manages to get in and you kind of anticipate this, but in this instance nobody was really. But I did appreciate that Brady was so critical of the refs. I remember that first call and we're like, "Oh God, ref ball already," right? And like
mhm.
he was like, "No." And then the ref that they always the veteran ref they always have, I forget who it was this time, but he was like, "No," and everybody was like, "No." And I appreciated the honesty at least about that part. Of course, ref ball really didn't count in this game very much in their
Mhm.
favor. In fact, it was
Not
kind
at
of in
all.
the Eagles' favor more so, I would say.
Oh yeah,
So it was kind of a shocking turnaround, and I'm like, who did they not pay during halftime? Like, surely they could
well,
have made it right during halftime.
and here's where I'm getting like really Ted hat. It's like it's almost like the NFL heard so much about the refs being in the Chiefs' back pocket, or the NFL wanting to, prop them up so much that
Mm-hmm.
they're like, we have to just
Go the complete other way.
complete other way with it now. And it's like we weren't planning on doing this, but I guess we have to now.
It
But I
had
mean,
it
yeah.
had some hints of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that occurred to me. Um, I
But it was
have
amazing. 12 comeback wins, 12 times you come from behind the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and
That's just against all odds.
you
That's why
barely
people
skate
look
by
at,
anybody.
yeah, to not just drub anybody. That's the mark of a good team.
They
At least
scored
to have
30
four.
points one time, and that was last week, or the AFC Championship game all year.
Crazy. Crazy. That I mean that's when it's a one score game, you can always whisper about the refs. And
Oh yeah,
all of their games were a one score game.
yeah.
That's why every game
mm,
you could point to a play every game. Said
Mm-hmm.
that turned it.
Yep. Every single game.
If you're beating teams by 10 or 12, you're away from that. But they
Yep.
never beat anybody by 10 or
No.
12.
I was
No.
hearing that Twilight Zone song in the background as the score kept going up. I was like,
Yeah, it was weird. Very
yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
I was
And
also keyed in on the national security risk. That's all I'll say about that because I was like, oh my God, please God, no, not at the
yeah,
game.
not here, not now.
Okay, like not really ever because it's not something you ever want to happen to anybody, right? And so but especially I was like, look, there's a reason why nobody's done this before. This feels like a security risk above all security risks. I was so anxious about it. Um Taylor Swift got booed as we discussed beforehand before the show. I didn't really hear it, so I was not aware. I guess I didn't hear it over this game sound, but um yeah, Jay
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, I did, but I was thinking it was mainly because it was a predominantly Philly crowd, a little bit more Philly crowd than KC crowd.
Right, and then that's when I discovered that I guess she's a Pennsylvania native and used to be a proud Eagles fan. But I was like, that still seems a bit dramatic, but okay.
Yeah. And
Uh,
so long ago, though. I mean, because she's been in Nashville since she was a teenager.
yeah, I don't know when she would have even, I guess maybe when she was in Nashville, she was still a they said she's a Pennsylvania native, not that she was always a Eagles fan in Pennsylvania. She probably
Okay.
was still a Pennsylvania, I mean, still a Phillies fan in Nashville is my guess. But I mean, I didn't even know because that's not I don't know that much about her, so that was way out of my wheelhouse. But also we had it was really weird that they had some special guests besides the one that we just mentioned that were never shown on the TV. But also some of our fan favorites like Will Smith and Jay-Z weren't either. And I thought that was really interesting that they didn't pan to them during the game. Um,
They panned to Jay-Z shortly before the game,
yeah, and I saw the photos before the game, but you would think
but
that they would.
yeah, that was it. I don't remember seeing Will Smith ever for sure.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah, I
Um,
just saw the pictures. There was, so I was like, it just seemed like anybody that would get them maybe some heat, they just left off the camera. It's just my observation, except for Taylor, which even that went wrong, which was weird. Um, yeah, there was like over 20 celebrities there, and they only showed like six or seven during the game. If you want to call the NASCAR guy a celebrity. Um, yep. So
Which NASCAR guy?
I don't know, somebody who won in 2020, they said.
Okay.
And he was there with his dad. I've never heard of him. Um, yeah. Somebody like, is there a championship for NASCAR? Because if there was, it was this guy.
Yeah, points championship. Yeah.
Yeah, 2020. So,
Okay.
um,
Yeah, that's 5 years back. I can't pull it off the top of my head.
okay. And what do we think about the Hall of Fame? First off, I'm gonna just admit that I didn't even realize Shannon Sharp had a brother. So that's
oh yeah,
how aware I am of that.
he's
He
very
was more in my
uh,
time.
yeah.
He was
Yeah.
well before your time.
Well,
He
and
was
usually
six
I
or
know
eight years.
people before your time, my time, and those added together because I talk about Red Grange sometimes.
Yeah.
But
If you think about it,
Galloping
once
Ghost.
Jerry Rice left the league, for
mhm,
about 3 years, Sterling Sharp was the best wide receiver out there.
Well,
okay.
Jay,
About three
I
years.
I believe even during Jerry Rice's like prime that uh Sharp had won the Triple Crown for receivers in one of Rice's prime years,
Yeah, he did.
which
He
is
was,
insane.
yeah, he was very, he was very, very good.
Yeah, I know a
Um,
lot of people were really thrilled that they could be in the Hall of Fame together. Me
yeah, that's cool.
included. That's very nice.
What about
Um,
Torrey Holt though? Like he didn't get in. Luke Kuechly, I thought for sure would be a first ballot guy, and that stunned
Yeah,
me.
that's true. He
That
was
stunned me.
very dominant. For a year or two, he was as good a defender as anybody in the league.
I mean, Kuechly post Ray Lewis, Brian Urlacher era. I mean, hands down the best. I mean Wagner, but he's not retired yet, obviously. I mean, it's pretty much those two. So that was shocking to me.
it
Should
was
be
a
in
good
next
year for
year.
the
Steve
Allens.
Smith didn't get in. Like I just tons of good players that I love just from that era. But yeah, those are my kind of my two or three that shocked me.
Jared Allen, Eric Allen, and then Josh Allen got the MVP, and it was just a lot of Allens going on at
Tons
that
of
show.
Allens. All the Allens. If you had the last name Allen, you're born for
You're
NFL
gonna win
superstardom.
something.
Yeah.
And I
Yep.
Yeah,
almost
Eric
cried
Allen was
when
like a defensive back, I believe.
Yep.
I
Think
almost
the
cried when
Chiefs.
Josh Allen was crying and his parents were crying. I almost cried.
I was thinking maybe he was a Cardinal, Eric Allen.
Let me
Was he?
look.
I might be wrong. I'm probably wrong, Jay.
He was a cornerback who played for the Saints and the Eagles.
Oh, okay.
We're both
Sorry.
wrong.
Both
Oh well.
wrong.
What can you do?
And
But
he
I mean, I'm
was
Um,
sure he's a multiple time All Pro, so I remember him being
and
very
the
good.
Raiders.
okay, I kind of remember that. Not,
Man,
but
that's off tough nosed defensive teams. Those three.
Yeah.
from '88 to 2001, heck yeah.
Man,
Okay.
being in the league for 14 years.
As
Shoot.
a cornerback, ouch,
Yeah, as
ouch,
a
ouch.
corner, yeah.
I know he's
54
got
picks.
arthritis.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Well, I guess he really earned it then.
Hey, can we get my guy Charles Tillman in the freaking Hall of Fame? I mean, every stinking time I watch a football game, all I hear is peanut punch, peanut punch, peanut punch. The guy freaking invented the damn thing, and everybody uses it now. Coaches teach tape on him. I mean, I thought that was the. I mean, he's got more touchdowns, more fumbles forced, more fumble recoveries, more picks than Troy Polamalu. Like, what are we doing?
I don't know. But
Get
I
my
mean,
guy
when
in
you
there.
mention all the names, it seems like a very big class that they were electing from this time.
It was, and I guess they only bring in a certain amount every year. It's not like baseball where it's basically as
No,
long as the
yeah.
votes you're in.
It's a very set amount every year.
Yeah, which is good. I like the
Yeah.
It was
you know
only four, right?
the
It was
elite
only
club.
those
Four
four.
got,
Oh, four. Okay,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Eli didn't make it in,
I
which,
know, which people were really whining about, and I'm like, if y'all don't shut the hell up, because
He's
yeah.
not a first ballot. He'll
Yeah,
probably get
he's not a
in.
first ballot. Yeah, second, third, maybe Veterans Committee, but
He
he'll
had
get
some
in
he had
sometime.
some bad seasons, like
yeah.
bad.
And
Bad.
I'm just tired of looking like overlooking the little guys. Like, you know how many people are waiting for this and get it done posthumously, which is disgusting to
Mm-hmm.
me because like who cares at that point? And like they're worried about Eli Manning, who's like 39. Like I think he can wait.
He's got time, and
Yeah.
he needs to wait a little
Yeah.
bit.
I don't even think he cared. I think his fans cared more than he ever did.
Eli has, yeah, he's never struck me as a guy that cared at all.
I
He
think
just
he
wanted
has
to win.
Walter Payton Man of the Year award. Like he has that one that you can see on the show.
Yeah,
But I get that because that's a big one, right? But like
yeah,
and that's like the fact that he even got it is so cool that that's like an accolade that I would feel honored by too. But like he doesn't strike me as somebody who has like a row of trophies like in his hallway. So yeah, I was like, y'all need to chill. Like
yeah, yeah. The Walter Payton Man of the Year award is really cool, and guys really seem to get stoked when they win that one.
and it hasn't always been that way. I heard that Roger Goodell really has worked really hard. That's one of his contributions, I guess, is like putting the emphasis on how important that award was because at some points, I guess it was just like you didn't even know you got it and then it got mailed to you kind of thing and you're like,
Yeah,
"Oh." So, I guess he like put an emphasis on it because now it's like next to God, okay? Like
yeah. It's outside of winning MVP or any of those top tier awards. That's definitely the one you want. So
yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Let's see, Julie, I skipped over something you were going to talk about a couple of the injuries that were coming um, that were let's see, a couple of the player moves or injuries that were coming out. No, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So Aaron Rodgers, as we know,
Yeah, player moves. Yeah,
got canned. Yeah, I was like, we're not really focusing on injuries right now, Jay. There's no more football. Like, let them
yeah, that's
rest.
true.
Damn.
That's true.
Like, let them have the off season. Dang. Then we can talk about it if they like not coming back. But yeah, so Aaron Rodgers is no longer a Jet. I don't think he. I've heard like trade rumors, but not really. Geno Smith, they made the announcement, I believe today, that he's going to be the 2025 quarterback for the upcoming season.
Okay.
And a lot of people are really upset about that, but some weren't. And then others are like, yeah, there's better quarterbacks, but they're not available. So, um, which I think has been a pretty valid point for a minute about this upcoming thing is we're in a quarterback drought. So, like, if you have a decent one, you keep that one.
mm-hmm.
So I'm not mad at it. Then they were saying Patrick Mahomes was doing a Geno Smith. I'm like, why you at the Super Bowl? I'm like, why y'all gotta do him like that? I don't think Geno Smith did that bad. Ooh, Lord. but whatever. I mean, I know he got a pick six in the Vikings game, and that's like because I saw it with my own eyeballs, and it was hard to watch, and that was really sort of the nail in the coffin for that game. Like, so I know that he does have inopportune pick sixes at times, but to say he was like Mahomes in the Super Bowl, that's a very harsh critique. Okay, I wouldn't even say that about like I don't know, nobody. Okay,
Mahomes
because
had one of the worst Super Bowl performances, like
ever,
literally ever,
yeah.
Yes.
since they started the advanced stats. You know, it's yeah, it was bad.
Look, all I am saying is they need to check the Eagles locker room for voodoo dolls and see if any ladies with the snakes, like they brought onto the field before, did a little potion before the game, okay? Because that just did not make a lick of sense how bad it was. I was like, did you not kill a cat before the game? Like, what happened here? Like, I don't know. Um, the blood of a goat or something. Did that not get smeared on the doorways? I'm not sure what happened, but like, that was a very unnecessary, very unnecessary comparison.
Yes, and
Uh,
also not accurate.
no, but I mean, most of us are not. I heard, I don't know, those are the two that I've heard today that were really big. Oh, I know Debo Samuels, right? They're talking about where he's gonna go.
Yeah, well, I just seen a trade rumor. Damn it, who was it? Commanders.
Yeah, and who else just recently requested a trade?
Miles Garrett.
Yes.
Yep.
With the
And
Browns, yeah.
Which
Devontae Adams is going somewhere else.
Has there been any word on Sam Darnold,
I'm
I
not.
whether he's staying or whether he's leaving?
I was under the impression he was leaving.
I
I
just haven't heard where he might go. I
I
would
don't
think there'd be some
know
rumors by now.
with JJ waiting, and I mean Sam. What are they paying this year? 10 mil. He's probably going to get close to 30 for 3 or 4 years, I imagine, just off this year alone.
Oh wow. So Vikings signed Daniel Jones in case Sam Darnold leaves. Oh
Is
God.
this serious? Really?
Yes.
Yeah,
Schefter said that.
Wow.
yeah,
Mm.
Sweetie.
Oh my gosh.
Okay,
yeah.
who do we need to talk to in the Okay, like if you get Daniel Jones because Sam Darnold is leaving, you are not in a better place.
Well, and here's I guess as a backup, Daniel Jones he can probably sling the rock for you for a game or two in a pinch, and he's
Mm,
probably going to be better than most backups are going to be.
you
We
think?
just said we just said it's a very
I would take Jacoby Brissett
un,
over that.
Daniel Jones got a lot more miles to go.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know. Good landing spot for Daniel Jones, and honestly, well, watch what Kevin O'Connell did for Sam Darnold. He might. This is a.
See, I
But who
thought
would
that
have
they,
thought that Sam Darnold would have this year either, though? I guess that's my point. Who would
yeah,
have thought?
no.
Nobody.
And he might not ever have it again, but that's a risk that we're willing to take. I think I was under the impression that the Vikings didn't want him, but it seems like they're more concerned about him not wanting them. So if they
I've
went and
heard he
signed,
wants a long-term deal.
And he will,
oh,
and he'll probably get one.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Honestly,
He's going to get one. They just weren't willing when they spent a first round pick
yeah.
to
Like
give
they
a
should.
multi-year deal to somebody else.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for
mm,
playing. Glad it was a very mutual. Like, hey, we helped you out. You helped us out.
yeah.
It worked out perfect for both
But if
sides.
Daniel Jones
See
is
you
their
later.
next man up, as a backup, okay, but as the main guy, no. So that's not a good backup plan.
Well, that's why I'm curious where JJ's at in his recovery.
Right.
If I'm sure he's fine. I
Yeah.
think I seen that he was like running around throwing football and everything. So I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good point. I keep
So,
forgetting about him.
so let's do a quick around the room. Do y'all think either one of these teams will be back in the Super Bowl next year?
Mm-hmm. They both got to pay a lot of guys that are free agents this year. So I don't know.
I am feeling so burnt out about it yet. Right now, I'm not even sure, but I just I just want a game that makes sense next
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. I don't think either one would be back. And I think the Chiefs could have a really, really rough year especially with all the things the Raiders are doing.
Yeah. I mean, I tell you what, if I don't think there's two better talent evaluators than Veach
Then us too.
and Roseman. Yes.
Oh.
Thanks for saying too, Julie. I feel really bad now.
Well, no, I was saying you and me because we had just commented.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they do. I mean, I do not think Nick Sirianni's a good coach. I'm sorry. I just don't. I don't believe it. I just think that Roseman has done a phenomenal job of loading that roster up.
I don't know what that man has to do to get any credit, okay?
I don't know either. But
I feel like he proved to us that he makes his own pasta sauce this game instead of using it from a can.
Maybe when he stops trying to fight fans of his own colors, then maybe. No. I don't know. It just doesn't.
I don't know what else.
That's for another day.
Y'all doing the most with that one.
So I'm saying 0 out of 2. And both of y'all are saying maybe 1 out of 2 or 0 out of 2. Okay.
Yeah, throw them all away and get some new teams up in here. Get some fresh blood. Okay.
So we're pretty much.
I didn't want the game in the first place.
I think the Chiefs would be bad.
We'd already seen the Chiefs and the Eagles. And we've seen the Chiefs way too many times. I didn't want it anyway. I wanted somebody new. The Lions and, I don't know, the Bills or the Commanders and the Bills or something. I didn't want this shit anyway, so I definitely don't want it next year.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think as long as Andy Reid's on that sideline and Mahomes is playing quarterback, I think that they're going to be 9-10 wins at worst every year.
Yeah.
They'll probably make I don't know if they'll make the playoffs with that. I mean, AFC West is looking, I don't know, whatever. But I don't think
why don't we go around the room and see who's got something to promote? I know Julie does.
Yeah, I definitely what's the one I just most recently? Oh, I covered all the different MVPs that have ever won the award and broke down obviously the positions that are most likely. Is there a team that's most likely to get nominated? And then I talked about how most of their brains are calcifying at this age, so maybe you don't want to be the MVP anyway. And then I did African American History Month, Black History Month is this month. I did an article on important inventors who have made big innovation in the NFL who are African American. And then also talked about the Pro Bowl. So I'll have a little bit more Pro Bowl content coming out, definitely a few more African American History Month articles coming out, and the random ones that you're like, where did she even get that idea, are cooking, because I've seen some things and I'm like, oh, I need to investigate into that. So just, whatever comes, just be ready for it, but there's going to be lots of content.
Okay. Caleb, give me your Twitter handle again, because I always have trouble when I look it up. I
am at the cap
11, right?
And I've got something. I said something I feel like everybody thought was kind of crazy. And I had to look the numbers up.
Okay.
Charles Tillman versus Troy Polamalu.
Okay.
First ballot Hall of Famer. They played from 2003 to 14 and 15.
Okay.
Tillman played 10 more games.
Okay.
Tackles 790 to 583, Charles Tillman's favor. Interceptions 38 to 32, Charles Tillman in favor. Interception touchdowns 8-3, Charles Tillman again. Pass deflections 140 to 107, Charles Tillman. Forced fumbles 44 to 14, Charles Tillman. Fumble recoveries 11-7, Charles Tillman.
Man.
Okay,
it sounds like it should be in.
Tackles is what the tackles. We're talking about Polamalu, who played down in the box for half of his snaps.
Yeah.
Had less tackles than a corner. Tillman had his nose in the mix. He was.
It was Tony's hair, okay?
And he mossed Randy Moss.
It was Tony's hair. That's what got him the award. That's what put him on the map.
But here's the thing, too, is Polamalu has 2 Super Bowls, got voted to 8 Pro Bowls because of the hair and the flashiness and all that. 6 All-Pros, AP Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, Tillman only had 2 Pro Bowls and 1 All-Pro. Just a quiet, bring your lunchbox to work.
Yeah.
and he just happens to have one of the most infamous forced fumble techniques named after him.
Okay.
So
well, maybe
there's my
the next
bit. Get him
person
in the
I
Hall of Fame.
talk about for Black American History Month and all. Black History Month.
And I was going to say, you can find me at Ajax Mem.
Nobody was worried about that.
Twitter.
I'm just.
That's not nice to say right before we log off.
I know.
We're getting ready to log off, is what I'm saying. And
he's gonna think about that all week.
All week. I mean, all year. You know how I am.
I know.
No, but I am going to look at Julie. I'm going to look at Julie's articles and try to get more inspired and talk to her and Jamie about being prolific on my writing again.
Yeah, get in there.
That's what I'm looking at. So, Caleb, appreciate you bringing it this week. Julie, appreciate you bringing it this week. As you know,
well,
as you do
thank you
every
for being
week.
the MC per the
Yeah,
use. We appreciated that.
Okay, and I think we hit the nail on the head about an hour for our customers. And Julie,
like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.
Okay.
Ding.
Okay. Bye, everybody.